to the 46th Annual Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo kicking off today as we prep for 31 March. Everybody grab your seats out there. Thrilled to have you all come out in such gorgeous weather. Ducks are happy. The grass is growing. The chill in the air keeps you all alert, right? Thrilled to have you here. Okay. How do we start all things Sun and Fun? We start it by pledging our allegiance to the country that gives us a chance and recognizing the Lord that gives us the opportunity. If you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. If I get Gary Gunn to address a higher power that gives them all our strength.
Let's pray. Holy Father, as the details of this meeting today are discussed, we ask that you give us insight and understanding in order to achieve harmony between all areas of this great event. We are assured that as we seek your counsel, total awareness will certainly be found. Cover us, O Lord, with the spirit of tolerance, patience, and cooperation. Struggling for solutions amidst differing personalities can at times seem impossible, but thankfully, we are not expected to be perfect. Scripture tells us that we all fall short. So as we are assembled today, let us reach out to those around us with words of encouragement and seek to find paths of agreement. Help us to overcome those differences of opinion without creating any atmospheres of discord or disparity. Unite us with a common vision, recognizing that we are ultimately working together to achieve a safe and successful event, one that will be enjoyed by all of our participants, exhibitors, volunteers, staff, and every guest that enters these grounds. We ask these requests in the matchless name of Jesus. And all said, Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Gary. Inspirational words. Well, I'm sure that all of y'all have been paying attention to our email blasts and Facebook, and you realize that as of 1 October, we did a corporate restructure, purposely. And we did this in reality to mirror a lot of other great successful organizations, none the least of which is the Experimental Aircraft Association, which I think most of us are members of and are gleefully support them. They have a model that says that the Experimental Aircraft Association puts on a fundraiser every year, and it's called AirVenture. We call it Oshkosh, but it's the same idea. And so we restructured to have the Aerospace Center for Excellence become the corporate headquarters. And underneath that, in collaboration, in a teaming environment, we have the Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo, the Lakeland Aero Club, and soon to be announced is going to be the Ace Flying Club, which will have aircraft available for all of you in the local area if you qualify to fly those aircraft. Once again, getting more people into the sky. That's our charter. We need to do that. Well, that restructure has taken place, and now what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce to you the chairman of each one of those and the president of the Lakeland Aero Club to make sure everybody's on board with who they are. So I can get Harley Richards and Rick Garcia and Mike Z to come up here, please. And give a round of applause, folks. Here they are.
Good morning, thank you very much, and we look forward to this reorganization that we did last year. So far it's working pretty good. Hopefully everybody's on board and loves it, and we love what we're doing here. Harley and Mike are a great team, and we're all together doing this. So Harley, if you will.
If someone can tell me how this year went by so fast, and we are back here sitting in the same spot talking about flying 46, it's unbelievable. There are so many parts to this machine, and primarily the Sun and Fun staff who you see lined up on the wall over here, Laura Vaughn, You've got Greg Gibson, Tim Wells, Tracy, Dave Fuller. These are a group of really hard-working folks. I said something last year, I can't even remember what I said about lights, getting everything done in 3 months, and everybody got a big laugh out of that. But these people work their butts off all year, and they deserve a huge hand. So, you know, there's you guys, the volunteers, all of the chairmen of each of the different areas, the raiders, the motorcycle escorts, the food preparers, the transportation. The list goes on and on. There's so many people, it's mind-boggling. And so, you know, when you put that many people together in a limited venue with airplanes driving around, with propellers turning, last year I said something about safety. I'm going to say something about safety one more time. I used to go quail hunting in Georgia. I went to this place for 20 years. And for 20 years, Cater Cox came to the table at breakfast and gave a safety talk. And he said, gentlemen, he said, the accidents that we see out here are typically from seasoned hunters. They get complacent. They get lazy. They get comfortable handling a gun. And although we don't have shotguns out here, we've got turn-in propellers, and I can promise you that they can do more damage. So when you're out there, think about it. Be vigilant, have situational awareness, watch your back, watch your buddy's back, watch our guest. That doesn't even bring into the picture the 400 golf carts, which I'm sure they'll talk to you about in a little while. Before I go, I just want to mention that we lost a good friend, a board member, Sherrod Campbell, longtime volunteer, a local dentist here for 38 years. He died around October the 18th or 19th, or January 18th or the 19th from pulmonary fibrosis. And those of you who are local that went to his service last Saturday will have to agree with me that it was one of the more touching services that you've ever been to. So we will all miss Sherrod. He was a great guy, a great friend. He loved Sun and Fun. So we'll say so long to Sherrod Campbell. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We are doing great things here, and we couldn't do it without your help. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much.
Okay, before I forget this, there is a leadership team that helps Harley and Rick and Mike. Could I get all the board members that are in the audience to please stand up, whether it be the ACE board, Son of Fun board, or the Lakeland Aeroplane board? I think we got some here. Bob, Gene, yes indeed, we got AJ, we got Steve. Thank you all very much for being out here. And please understand, this is a collaboration of organizations coming together for a common goal. And that goal is to provide opportunity to the young men and women that are rising up in our society today to be exposed to the opportunities that the aerospace industry offers and to prepare them for positions such as we've all enjoyed over our careers. Because it's very tough to get in, and we're making that pathway open. We're removing barriers, we're accelerating their lives, and it's all because of what we do at the Fly-In. That's so crucial. So, at this time, the next level of support is all of our staff that work diligently all year round, doing a lot more than they'd like to do, because I do ride them. I didn't say the word, all right? I motivate them to exceed even their own personal expectations of performance. So if I could please, each one of the staff members, you can swing by, I want you to know who they are and be exposed to their faces and then engage them when you need help, because that's what they're there for. Okay, come on up here. Brenda's going to start the parade. Cast of characters.
My name is Brenda, and I am the accounting manager here, so this will be my second Sun and Fun. So it's nice to meet everyone, and thank you for being here.
Hi, good morning. My name is Tabitha, and I'm the office coordinator.
I don't know what's redder now, my face or my jacket. But anyway, hi, I'm Lori, and I am Lace's assistant, and it's wonderful to see everyone here, and we love you.
Good morning, my name is Nick. I'm the IT specialist working beside Dave Fuller.
Good morning, family. I am Robin McFarland, the volunteer director. Take a seat.
I'm Tim Wells, site director. This is little Tim.
Good morning, Dave Fuller, IT department.
Good morning, I'm Matt Anderson. I do your tents and your golf carts and food service this year.
Good morning. I'm Rochelle Floyd, and I'm the scholarship director.
Good morning, Ed Young. I may have a favorite in the game tomorrow. Let's go, Chiefs. I'm the executive director of ACE.
Hi, Carol Calley, Director of Marketing and PR. If you see me buzzing around during the fly-in or whatever, I usually don't stand still very quickly, but if you have any story, kind of fun thing going on during the fly-in, try to grab me, jump my ankles, whatever. Make sure your story is told. Thanks.
Good morning. I'm Laura Vaughn, and I'm the one who invited you here today. I also want to mention David McQuarrie, the kind gentleman down behind the camera. He and his team were here very early this morning to make this magic happen, so thank you, Dave. I am Bonnie Perkins, and I am the exhibit manager.
I'm Jeannie Schneider. I take care of the performers and logistics for some of the sponsors, and during the year, I herd the marketing cats. So I'm the marketing department coordinator.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Fortier. I'm brand new, but really happy to be here, event sales manager.
Hi, I'm Melanie Ayers, and I'm the business development manager here. I want to thank you guys all for being here and being a part of this. We couldn't do this without all of our volunteers, so thank you much. I work with the sponsors, keeping all of them interested, giving them activation, and making sure their return on investment is good so they keep coming back every year. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Susan Hiley. I'm the merchandise manager for ACE, and if you're looking for something, give us a try.
Hello, I'm Murray Freeman, and I'm Tim's assistant, and I handle purchasing for Sunday.
Hello, baby. I've always wanted to do that, you know. I'm Reuben Scheidel. I'm the maintenance foreman. And my crew is, some of them don't, they're stadium or podium shy, I guess. Stand up, fellas, back there. Brian's already saying that's my crew. Without them, we couldn't get a lot of stuff done. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Hi. I'm Greg Gibson, and I'm well, you know. Chief Marketing Officer, Air Show Director. Really glad to have you guys, and I'll talk to you in a little while.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Don Harville. I'm the only unshy maintenance guy out there, I guess.
Anyways, I'm one of the wrench turners as well. I work with such a wonderful crew. I don't take these guys for granted by any means. They bust their butts day in, day out, and I can vouch for them firsthand, so thank you guys.
Good morning, Andy Evans, Aircraft Maintenance Manager. Myself and a wonderful team of volunteers help take care of all the aircraft here on the property. And during the air show, I work for Greg Gibson and work with Live Air Show TV. Welcome.
Well, as you can see, we've got a very competent, capable, exciting team to work together. And quite candidly, there's no way we could do what we do without their constant communication, collaboration, and coordination of all the efforts, things that happen at Sun and Fun. And you can see we have a pretty good fun time doing it as well, which is great. It's the best team I think we've ever had, and they do make magic because Lord knows they do more than one job every day. So, yeah, they love working. So, a quick update here for you, and just so you know that we're doing what we think is the right thing. In the last 5 years, once we got out of debt, we started reinvesting right back into the Sun and Fun Expo campus and all things that support our organization. So we put over $4.6 million in capital improvements in the last 5 years. We got better trucks, we got better roofs, we got new buildings. We've expanded, we've cleaned up. Everybody has worked diligently to make the most out of our investment so that it's a friendlier, safer, more efficient and effective campus for all things Sun and Fun. That's important to know. And at the same time, just like you do, hopefully we all do in our own finances, we put a little savings away. We're at about 1.2 right now between our endowment and investments that are earning, thanks to our great economy, 13 to 14%. And we're actually saving for that, hopefully not, but a rainy day. And we're prepared for the future. And that's a good thing. And then, this is pretty impressive. This coming year, we'll put over $500,000 more just in the next 6 months in preparation for the fly-in and getting the campus pristine and perfect for our operation. So don't think that we're squandering the money. It's going to a good location. This does not include the $2 million, $2.1 million that we put into scholarships in the last 5 years. Okay, that's beyond that. This is really impressive. And lastly but not least, and Ed's going to talk to you here in a minute, Project Skylab, which he will describe to you, but that's going to be a $4 million adventure just this year, and probably another $500,000 more when we get into 2021. So at the end of the day, we're getting a lot done with a lot of money. How are we doing this time? Well, look at here. If you go back to 2015, pretty scary. We only had about 28,000 in pre-ticket sales as of this moment in relation to the fly-in. Right now, we're approaching $150,000, from 28,000 to 150,000. Pretty good, huh? And that's, in essence, we're doing a lot better in our marketing, and I'll be very candid with you. This is the result of our patrons enjoying the event. Your positive attitude, your atmosphere of enjoyment and excitement in a safe environment, they appreciate that. So they want to get their tickets early. They're expecting to come and have a great time for a fair price, so they're buying tickets early. That's important. You have set the culture of Sun and Fun to be that of that warm Southern hospitality. All right. This is the four P's to live by during our fly-in. This is my little pitch to you. You've been doing it, just a reiteration, like Harley said earlier, complacency is the one that kills us. So stay focused. Our job is to stay professional. And I will tell you, as you've heard me say so many times before, the safe environment is the result of professional execution of all your duties. Doing it by the book, follow the process, follow the procedure, don't waver. When you see something going south, stop it before it goes off the cliff. Make sure we're very professional. Be positive. Happy is a good thing. We want to enjoy it, but we have a positive attitude. Can do, get it done. Be productive. When you see somebody needs help, give them a hand. Don't stand there and watch somebody struggle when you can make it a quicker job done if you just step over and throw in your extra effort. That's important. And the last one I added in there just this morning as I was thinking about this. You know, you see all those t-shirts, stay calm and, stay calm and. And this one should say, stay calm and fly on. Because if we are calm and very deliberate in our actions and not emotional, then things go professional. So be patient. Don't get excited. No henny penny, the sky's falling in. Oh no, we got an airplane taxiing the wrong way. No, let's stop the airplane. Let's get it back on track. Let's just stay focused and be very patient and deliberate in our actions, and all good things will happen for us. So with that, I'm going to pass it over now to my brother from another mother, my twin, my older twin, soon to be daddy again, Gene Conrad, airport director, best guy on the planet.
Hey, good morning. Welcome back. We're happy to see you all here again for this year, the 46th Annual Son of Fun Flying and Expo. We're super excited to be here. Before I get started today, we're going to talk about some stuff. I know there's a lot of questions. After we're done here today, we'll be in the back with our boards, reference the master plan and all that, and obviously we're happy to answer any questions. But I just wanted to announce that we're very, very excited that we actually completed the culverts on time. The most important thing we've done here this year is get those culverts done. So, perlites, right? I'm just kidding. All right, again, we're happy to have you all here. There's obviously been a lot going on. Wanted to talk to you real quick first about Amazon and where we are with that project. And that kind of leads into everything else that's going on here. So obviously we executed our lease with Amazon last November. When was it? May. Sorry, a lot's been happening. So May of this last year, they started constructing in July, and they will have this building operational and functioning for June this summer. So that building will go live, aircraft will start flying in. It won't be just a mad dash of 8 flights a day coming in on day one. It'll be 1 or 2 a day starting in June, then 3 or 4 in July, and then add from there. So right now for holiday season of this next holiday season, they'll be at 7 to 8 departures per day. So very manageable for us, very easy for us to handle, considering we're a 24-hour operation. Even if you gave 7 to 8, those 7 or 8 departures a day, and arrivals, 5 minutes per flight, arrival and departure on the runway, it only equals about 3 to 4% of total runway time for the airport over a 24-hour period. So it's not a tremendous amount of activity. Some things specific to Amazon and their lease, hopefully you've heard, and I know a lot of you have talked to a lot of the different groups here already, but some of you, if you haven't heard, specific to the aerobatic box, their building does sit in the aerobatic box, and they have agreed through the lease that they are required to get out of that building. That means all personnel up to 3 hours per day when the military jet demonstration teams are here to perform. So they have agreed to do that. They understand the importance of obviously our event and what we all do here, and they will be vacating specifically for the military jet demos. Another thing is reference, everybody will get a lot of questions, reference, well, how do we handle and operate these aircraft during the fly-in? Their operation will be 24 hours, so it won't be like a FedEx in Memphis or UPS in Louisville, where they all come in super early in the morning and then leave super early at the other half of the morning, at 6 in the morning and things like that. So there will be a 24-hour operation. But specific to Sun and Fun, we know the busy periods are from 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning to 12:30 right up to the air show. And then we have the air show where there's about a 3 to 4 hour lull, obviously for the flip-flops and the other activities. And then after the air show, it's busy for about an hour and a half for the 300 odd departures or whatnot that need to get out of here. So they're going to operate outside of those times. Now granted, there will be a mechanical, right, and they're going to need to get an airplane in here, but we're just going to, FAA, our great partners at FAA, so Russ Argus here, we're just going to clear a path just like they do for the C-17s that come in, the C-130s, We're having KC-10s this year. We're going to have KC-46, 767, so we just clear a path and make a hole and just continue on with what we're doing. But in all of our conversations with them, they are going to push their flight schedules as much as possible outside of those busy periods. So not to worry, it's not going to affect the event very much, but again, if one has to come in and go, it's really not a big deal at the end of the day. So again, they'll be in for June of 2020. And you can see down there too as well our runway project and what's going on. So our runway project, it's a lot of work happening really, really fast. So just to give you an update, we're putting $27 million into that runway right now. We started December 2nd. I think tomorrow we're 60 days in. And we are definitely on schedule, and they will be done, and that runway will be open for March 11th. So that gives us 20 days before the fly-in starts to make sure everything's good to go. And we have plenty of time, and even a window if some schedules slipped a little bit or whatnot. But if you've been around and you've seen the operation, what's happening right now, all of our traffic is on 523. Around February 18th, all of the traffic will flip back over to 927, to a shrunken 927, 5,000 feet, which is the length that we have on 523 right now. So we'll switch back over. They'll flip over to the east side and get the intersection done. If you've been out there or seen the activity, they're already on the east side working on that side. So they will flip over, get the rest of it done, and again be open by March 11th. We are very, very fortunate to have a great contractor on board. If you've seen some of the activity and sat over there on Juliet in the campground and watched what's happening, it is a ballet. We're very, very, very fortunate to have Hubbard on board doing that work, and there's about 100 people a day, if not more, out there working on that runway to make sure it's up and ready to go, and it will be ready to go. So no worries on that. Some other things that are going on with the runway. So we have the Cat 2 ILS upgrade. So you will see out there when you're here this year, there's going to be 3 poles up at the touchdown at both ends of the runways and at the midpoint of the runway. Those are RVRs, so those are for our upgraded ILS, so those will be up in the air and in place when you see them. That's what those are. Reference the Cat 3 upgrade. That does not have to be operational until November of 2021, but out on the runway we've already put in all the touchdown zone lighting, the center line lights, so all those are buried under the asphalt now. We'll actually core those out and put caps on them before we open up on March 11th, but those lights will be installed and all that after the fact later on. So, did I cover everything? Where's Adam? Good, Chris? Okay, just making sure. All right, so master plan. Again, we talked to a bunch of groups. We just had our public meeting, I believe it was back on January 15th. We actually had 150 people show up to our public meeting over at the terminal building, which is great and scary at the same time because you don't know what you're going to get as far as questions. But they're great questions, and we got a lot of things answered for folks, hopefully. I know there's a lot of different, rumors or different things going on out there, reference what's actually happening. But, again, we'll have boards in the back, but if you can see this, what the biggest change in our master plan is we are going to eliminate 523, or what we would like to call a relocation, and we will have a south parallel to the big runway 927. So that is our future. There's a lot of different things that have to come into play as far as operations on the airfield to hit certain targets with the FAA in order for us to get this moving. So like realistically, where are we with it and actually seeing this runway operational? We're probably 8 to 10 years out. So it's going to take us a little bit of time. But in saying that, obviously Sun and Fun and Lights and his team, we're all going through, we just completed our master plan, so now they have the roadmap as far as what we're doing, so they can continue on with their master plan and identify where all the buildings are going to go over time. Now granted, when we talk about buildings, it's not the core here with obviously CFAA, the museum, all these other buildings here in the core, but it's more reference the exhibit buildings, the maintenance facility and things like that, and how do we move those things into different places and basically wipe the slate clean and what makes the most sense for the flying long term to give our visitors and our flying and our guests the best experience here at this event. So we have an opportunity to set this event up for the next 50 years, and that is the goal. And does it seem daunting? Everything is. Trust me. I never thought when I got here 10 years ago we'd be doing half the stuff that we're doing here today, but we're doing it, we're getting it done, we're getting it funded, and we're moving forward. And what I want to be able to show you here with that is this blue area, and we have the map in the back as well. This blue area is the fly-in, the event space for the fly-in once our master plan is done. This actually represents more acreage than Sun and Fun uses today for the event. So when we've gone through our planning over the last year and a half, 2 years, however long it's been now at this point, we have been very, very purposeful in our planning on how we're going to maintain this fly-in for the next 50 years. That has been our number one goal, and I believe we have achieved it. All of our development, the majority of it, probably 90% of any future development on this airport, as far as new buildings and things like that, will occur on the north side of the airport. One of the things that taking 523 out, it opens up another 65 to 70 acres in the northeast corner for us to do other development that we would have otherwise done here on the south side. The first master plan we did when I first got here showed a tremendous amount of development on the south side. We have purposefully, and you'd be hard pressed to find another airport that would give up the opportunity to develop all of this other land on the south side and not do it. But again, we've made that decision. The city commission and the city manager's office is on board. We are not going to develop on the south side of the airport to protect this fly-in and everything that's happening here. So. Now granted, obviously the structure as far as the infrastructure, the taxiways, the runways, things like that will change. But again, just our development, large hangars and things like that, it's just not going to occur. If it does occur, it's going to happen down there by Draken and NOAA. You know, that's even south of their facility at this point. So we're looking at opportunities there, again, not to affect what's happening here with the fly-in. And if I can say, you know, a couple more things, reference Amazon, we have a fiduciary responsibility. My responsibility here for the city and this airport is to make it as viable as possible. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they don't participate in the fly-in here locally, and that's unfortunate. Hopefully, we've been increasing those numbers, but our number one goal is to make sure people recognize and understand that what we do out here is important to this entire city and to this region. Our economic impact over the last 10 years has gone from 162 million annually to 2019, it's now 574 million, and once Amazon is up and operating, it'll be probably close to 1 billion. So people are paying attention to what's happening here. And with that, and with Amazon coming on board, really what does that mean for us? So what it means is when you look at this master plan and how are we going to do this? How is the airport along with Sun and Fun going to move these exhibit buildings? Well, we are going to make the commitment with these exhibit buildings and the things that need to occur that we are going to fund those initiatives to get those things done. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it going to be easy? No, but we can get it done. We have invested well over $300 million into this airport over the last 10 years, and we will continue to invest. So those exhibit buildings, the other things that need to happen, the maintenance facility, things like that, once we've identified where those things are going to go on the airfield, we're going to start planning to, maybe in 3 or 4 years we start moving the exhibit buildings. It's just collectively what we all agree to and what makes the most sense. But those things are going to get done. We are going to redo the lease with Sun and Fun. We're going to redo the footprint, because right now you have about 170, 178 acres. That will shift, but you'll still have that same amount of acreage as the new lease is created and the new footprint. And then we, as the airport in the city of Lakeland, are going to make the commitment through the lease that we are going to fund these things and make sure these things happen. So no worries, it's all going to take time. But again, we're going to be purposeful. It's going to be well thought out. It's going to be methodical, and we're going to get it done right. So that's our commitment to you all. And hopefully, no one recorded that because I didn't mean any of it. Just kidding. Anyway, I think that's about all I have. I know Adam's going to come up and talk to you about the not so fun stuff. We got to be safe and all that. But again, I appreciate you guys. We're here. We want to answer your questions and make sure you guys are comfortable and understand what's going on. If I could say one more thing too, I know I've talked to some of the volunteers as far as any of this development moving forward and when is that going to happen as far as new taxiways and runways. We're not doing the airfield out there that when you left last year and what's out there today, nothing has changed on the south side. We will not do any changing to the taxiways on the south side till after Sun and Fun 2021. So the first project we will do will shift taxiway Papa to the south, into the campground, into Juliet, which we're obviously already working with Sun and Fun on. But that would be the first project. So more to come with that, but again, not till after next year's summer fun will we need to worry about aircraft movement or anything like that. So I will turn it over to Adam. Oh, one more thing, and then I'll leave. Because I'll get in trouble if I don't say something nice. Alabama, War Eagle, by the way. War Eagle. Yep. Hey, so real quick. Around the bowl and down the hole. So there you go. So real quick. I gotta go because Lights is giving me the hook. All right. So, I have the best team in the industry. Everybody gets to see me and shake my hand and say I'm doing such a great job, but it's not me. It's my team. It's our team. I've got a great staff of professionals, dedicated, passionate individuals that care, and that's how we get these things done, and they kill themselves for what we do out here. I know I'm hard a lot of the time, but I do appreciate what you all do for us. So thank you to my team.
All right, now for the not so fun stuff. So I do have one thing, don't quote me on this later, but no changes this year. First time. So we're reviewing what we talked about last year. So first of all, let's go on to your field mowing. All right, so our final cut's going to be Wednesday, March 25th, and all aircraft parking areas are going to remain at 3 inches this year. We're going to start down at Choppertown and work our way to the west over to GA Camping. If you have any additional mowing requests, remember, please reach out to Tim Wells, the Executive Site Director. He's going to work with our maintenance team to make sure that any concerns that you guys have for any of your areas are addressed prior to handing them over to you to start prepping those fields. Airport credentialing, again, regular badges are only going to be issued to yearly birds and Sun and Fun staff. Event badges are going to be volunteers operating inside the AOA prior to the air show. So if you're going to be working prior to the air show, anywhere inside the AOA fence line, you're going to need a badge from Monday, March 16th to Thursday, March 26th, and then Tuesday, April 7th to Monday, April 20th after the show. Temporary AOA badges, we're going to issue those to the FAA ATC folks and the Tech Ops guys from the FAA. Post 500 East Access Road vehicle passes are only going to be issued to the FAA and military support groups. And then airport badges are not required from Friday, March 27th until Monday, April 6th, the time span of the show. So event badges, just a reminder, they are issued by the airport badging office. Make sure you guys fill out a regular airport security access application. You gotta have 2 IDs, driver's license, and then a passport, social security card, or a birth certificate for our team to process. And then, let's see, you may escort up to 15 people, and then please make sure that you return all of those badges to our office no later than Thursday, April 9th. And then volunteers, please make sure that you speak with your chairman. You may or may not be required to have a badge. Don't come directly to the airport and request one. Make sure you speak to your chairman, and then chairman, make sure you get with Laura Vaughn or Tim Wells to get those applications signed before sending anyone over to our office. Change condition dates, so runway 523 and 826 will be closed from Friday, March 20th until 4 p.m. on Thursday, April 9th. That's the same time frame for the southern taxiways. Camping on the AOA will be authorized from Friday, March 27th until 5 p.m. on Monday, April 6th. So Chairman, please remind your volunteers, if you're going to be camping on the AOA, you have to be off the airfield by 5 p.m. on Monday after the show. And then the airport will be closed nightly from 7:30 p.m. until 6 o'clock a.m. starting Sunday, March 29th until Monday, April 5th. So the airport will be closed from Sunday until the following Monday morning after the show. And then again, airport badges are not required Friday, March 27th until Monday, April 5th. So if you're operating in those time periods, you don't need to come see us. Convention procedures, airfield setup and installations. Reminder, just no permanent installations unless you've talked to someone from our team. And then if you're coming onto the AOA, make sure you call airport operations. That's that 863-834-4901 number. It's on all the gates. It's got a big sign down there at gate 38, and it's also on the back of your badges. Clearance requirements, we're maintaining 300 feet around the VOR, 35 feet around the AWAS. Taxiways, we're at 40 feet, and then taxiway Bravo, north of Bravo 3, we're going to maintain that 60-foot clearance off edge of pavement for the heavy aircraft coming into the forward ramp. Contractor and volunteer briefings. So if you have any contractors working, or if you want volunteers to go through the contractor briefing, we will be hosting those here at Sun and Fun at least twice before the air show. Those times are still to be determined, but the briefing is mandatory for all contractors who are going to be working inside the AOA. And then we also have some handouts in the back, and we can answer any questions after this in the back of the room. That's it. So I'm going to turn it over to Ed Young this year instead of Jennifer Aniston like last year. So.
So, I put back on my regular uniform. This is my jersey. This is my helmet. So yesterday, Lights and I were at the county commission meeting, and you know, with all of the changes that are going on that you just heard from the airport, that you heard from Lights, all of those changes that are going on, it is absolutely critical that we remain relevant. And we're at the county commission meeting primarily because there are changes coming to Pipkin, and we hope there'll be changes that come to Hamilton. Without changes to Hamilton, it makes our life a little more difficult. So, the sound. Anyhow, so you all have heard the term preaching to the choir, right? Preaching to the choir. If it's late January, so it's too late to talk about Christmas and it's too early to talk about Easter. So you know if you go to church this time period that they're actually talking about asking you guys for money, right? I mean, this is the alms time that we all talk about. You know, and the term preaching to the choir is actually not where that originated. It actually came from an 1867 book by John Stuart Mills. And John Stuart Mills talked about preaching to the converted, and that it was just about as useful as kicking open a door that was already open. But I think that's wrong. I think that's incorrect. One of the things that we have to do is we have to stay relevant. And one of the things that staying relevant means is that we have to have a year-round mission. If we don't have a year-round mission, it's a little easier to forget us. And that's very difficult to think about for us, because if you, forgive me, Gary, if I have to ask for, if I have to do confession afterwards, I apologize if this is sacrilege. But you all out there look a whole lot like the people who help with churches. And let me see if I've got this right. You're here early on a weekend morning, and you're doing something that you love, and then you're going to take your vacation to do something you love even more. That's a kind of commitment that's unusual. It's a kind of commitment that has a certain air to it. It sure does sound like you guys are the choir, and I'm preaching to the choir. And I'm glad to see several of the people that were in the room yesterday came back today, so the preaching must have been pretty good, right? No, okay, apparently not. The purpose, though, our purpose going forward is to make sure that we stay relevant, that our event stays as critical to us, it stays as critical to the community as it is to us. If we lose that relevance, if we lose that commitment, if we lose that passion in the community, then it is much more difficult to have our event. And it is much easier to talk about, in a lot of ways, the great things that we've been able to do in the community than it is to talk about an incredible party that we all enjoy and we all give up our vacation for, right? And that being the case, we need you to go out into the community, because it's a lot easier when we have these great things that are going on campus. It's a lot easier when there are 300 people talking about it than when there are 30 people talking about it. And you are that choir. You are the converted. You believe in our mission already, so it's much easier for you to go out and talk about it. So last year we had a vision. We had a thought. We had an incredible facility that we could offer to the students in this area, and we could bring them in, and we could teach them about STEM, and we could keep that message relevant in this community. And that was called Skylab. And this year, because so far the message has gone out so well, and you all have told it so well, and our campaign group has told it so well, that we're actually a year ahead of schedule. We did not anticipate being where we're at when we broke ground just on January the 15th. We did not anticipate being there, but we're there. And so we've broken ground, and we're about ready to launch into the facility itself. And it's something to behold. 22,000 square foot of expanded space. Multi-purpose classrooms. And I know you're thinking, you know, during the fly-in I'm never going to get to see this building because I'm too busy working in my area, but we'll have opportunities to come year-round where you can participate with the students who use these facilities. One of the most incredible pieces of this building is going to be the holographic theater that's set up so that the kids over at CFAA, they design a part that Andy, when he did his introduction, didn't talk about the Spirit of Lakeland, but the Spirit of Lakeland is an aircraft we're building in conjunction with Able Flight, where we're going to teach people with disabilities to get their light sports pilot's license. Well, we've had parts on that thing that, because it's an experimental aircraft, we've had to manufacture ourselves. So the kids have put that aircraft into CAD. We figured out how to do the parts and then we machine them. This part of Skylab will actually allow them to take the part, put it into the machine, and see it in 3D before you ever had to cut metal, to see how it works, to see how those things fit together. We'll also be able to walk on Mars. Walk into that room and walk around in Mars. And you can also walk with dinosaurs if that's your thing. It is an opportunity to bring our message to encourage kids as young as in the car seat to as old as 149, to encourage people of all ages to be involved with aviation, to be involved with the thing that we love. Because the truth is and just like in church, we have to continue and encourage additional generations to be involved, otherwise it's hard to stay relevant. We have to encourage additional participation. And we show them the things that we can do, and that's what it is. It encourages participation. In addition to the 22,000 square feet of space in the convertible classrooms, we'll also have a variety of other opportunities for them to have hands-on learning. We know for a fact that if you have hands-on curriculum-based learning, that the kids do better on the tests. It's just a proven fact. So they learn in the classroom, they learn from the teacher, they come here, and they actually put their hands on experiments that demonstrate the sciences. We encourage them to have fun with the sciences. And one of the most exciting parts of this new convertible facility is that we're going to have teacher workshops here where we bring in national names and we teach the teachers how to teach aviation. Again, we're engaging as early as we can so that the future generations have as much passion as we have for aviation. That's okay. Life is good. And what is the result of all that? What is the end result? What are we seeing? $2.1 million in scholarships that we've put out there for the local students. That's a $5,000 scholarship per year if you're a continuing education student going to a college in Polk County. $2,500 if you're going to a university, a college or university that's outside of this area. 159 aircraft solos. That is 159 more evangelists for this thing that we love. 159 more people out there that are explaining how important it was, how life-changing it was when they were in the aircraft by themselves. There's no one to depend on. If you all were ever interested in thinking that this younger generation couldn't do anything without helicopter mom and jet speed dad. Well, so for the educators in the room, we've had a lot of helicopter parents. We even have to have rules in place so that we make sure that the kids are getting life lessons. If you think that that's a critical factor so that these kids are taking care of themselves, this is absolutely what happens when you solo an aircraft. I don't know about any of the others of you that have soloed, but when I was in the airplane by myself, I had to sing Keep Yourself Alive all the way through the 3 touch and goes. There's nobody to depend on but you, and these kids, 159 of these kids have gotten that opportunity. We have 45 students that are in training, 27 college scholarships that are out right now, 98 private pilots, and perhaps because I did commit sacrilege earlier, the weather is not good enough, but we had 2 check rides scheduled for today. We were hoping that we'd hit 100 today. The key to all of this, the key to continuing our capital campaign, is that the people that are most involved need to carry that message forward. And you are those people. And so yes, this is preaching to the choir, preaching to the converted, preaching to the people who understand the importance of aviation, that understand why we give up a week of our lives, why we give up weekends of our lives to plan this thing. I told somebody on the phone yesterday, I never knew how hard it was to plan somebody else's vacation. I mean, you know, and I'm sure you all have friends that come from all over the country that come down here, and Sun and Fun is the thing. And it's difficult, but why do we do it? I mean, sit there and think about for a second why you do it. We're in the middle of a capital campaign to demonstrate that in a solid way to the rest of the world. You know why you do it. You know why you enjoy this. You know why you're out there for a week, why you give up sleep. Why you go to the airport's planning meeting to make sure that the Sun and Fun is protected, that the fly-in is protected for the future. Gene knows why he does it. He grew up in Oshkosh. He doesn't have a choice. It was so thoroughly drilled in his head that he doesn't know anything else. And that's great because that ends up in good opportunities for us going forward. You know why you do it. So here, oh, so that's the slide that's missing. Okay, so there is one slide missing. And that slide actually shows the progress we've made so far since we've launched our capital campaign. So far, and the reason that we're breaking dirt, that we broke ground 2 weeks ago, and the reason that we're actually going to start to see some construction is that we've raised over 80% of the funds for this project, $3.8 million already. And here's the not so soft ask. We need to raise the rest of that money during Sun and Fun. We need to have that money in the bank by the time we close out Sun and Fun. I asked yesterday for each of the 80 people that were in that meeting for $10,000 apiece, and that's why I'm surprised so many people are here in the room again. This time I only need to ask you for $2,000 apiece. And I know that's funny. I mean, it really is kind of funny. But every board member on each of our boards has actually committed. We're not asking for huge pledges. The more people that pledge, the less that we have from each individual that's required. But it really, what it does is it shows a commitment. It shows a commitment to what the mission is here, and it shows a commitment to keeping us, ACE, Sun and Fun, the fly-in, relevant for years to come. It shows a commitment that you're interested in the future of aviation, you're interested in the future of STEM. It's a really hard ask. If you ever talk to your local pastor, I'm sure they'll tell you the worst week is that week you have to ask for the alms and people to give the donations. You know what? In this case, it's really not that hard to ask. I'm not asking you to keep the church afloat. It's not that serious. I'm not asking you to give till it hurts. It's not that serious. It is serious enough that if you believe in this mission, that making a pledge shows your neighbor, shows the rest of the choir, shows the unconverted how important aviation is to our future, how important STEM and the STEM sciences are, and STEM education is to our future. So I'm hoping that you'll take that message forward. You'll see the progress here shortly with the initial construction. We're going to stop short, just like the airport. We're going to stop pretty well short of Sun and Fun, so we can see what we have to work with in terms of the change of facilities. This facility will still be usable, although it may have some temporary construction barriers to lead people around up to the ICOF. You'll have a little bit of inconvenience in that center area where everybody learns how to drive their golf carts as fast as they can across brick. It sounds like there are a few offenders in the audience. I asked last year if we could put up a camera out there, and I had some really strong feedback from some of the members of the staff, because apparently we do it too. And again, the sound. So we will have some things that'll be in the way, and please work around us, but please know that it is for our mission. It is to provide the best facilities that we possibly can so that we stay relevant and we keep this mission moving forward and people understand the importance of aviation, especially in this community, especially in this place. And I'm going to introduce, I am going to introduce Tim Wells, who, sorry. Well, and he has 38 slides. I only had 3. So, man, you guys are in for a long day. Anyhow, Tim Wells, hang on. Tim Wells has been my partner in crime through this and the master plan, and it is really hard. So, my background is in local government, doing large-scale construction projects in local government, and then in the state government, and it is very difficult pushing forward construction projects. It's very, and I ran a parks department for years, and this place is simply amazing in terms of what the staff does for its size. And Tim has just been an absolutely wonderful partner in terms of trying to get the master plan and the Skylab portion in place. So, Tim laughs through everything, and he has a great sense of humor, and I think that keeps us from pulling the hair out. But Tim has been absolutely wonderful to work with. Clearly somebody got to Tim. got the hair. But keeps the rest of us from pulling our hair out. Anyhow, so I just want you to realize just how wonderful it is to work with Tim on a peer-to-peer relationship. So, Tim Wells.
He does look like Bob the Builder. And he wants to talk about walking on Mars. I'm going to tell you, the first chance I get in that little hologram, little theater thing, when I put the popcorn machine in there, I'm going to make a version of Ed and blow him up. I'm going to make him more top. So he doesn't have to use the step. Right? Hey, real quick, it's great to see everyone again. Like Harley said earlier, I can't believe we're back here. 59 days today to our Super Bowl. I just can't believe it. I mean, March 31st is going to be here so fast. And the year has just gone by. Just a couple things I want to hit on. You guys, all your requests, please email them. I'm trying to do my best. I got called out a little earlier because I hadn't responded fast enough or at all because I've been busy. And I know that that's not an excuse. So I apologize if I haven't been Johnny on the spot, but we run 91 events out here to diversify our portfolio. So maintenance is our events team as well, and our support staff, and we all work together as a team to make this happen. I have one of the best teams, the most professional team ever that I can ever remember in the history of our maintenance department. So I'd like to say thanks to my guys for doing all the heavy lifting. And again, like Gene said, you know, I get up here and speak, but they're the ones that really make it happen. And speaking of my team, there is no better team than the guys at the airport. And I don't know if you picked this up when Gene was speaking, but I wrote it down. Did anybody notice when Gene said about our guests and our visitors? That's a team player. We all work together, and those guys are just awesome to work with. And there are so many exciting times ahead with all the changes, and to know that we're going to be protected. And we actually get to do a control-delete on this entire airfield, so we can take the mistakes that we've learned for the past 46 years and start over and do it right. And it's going to look awesome out here. So I'm really excited about that. Thank you, guys. Moving forward here, I'll try to roll through this, but it is critical. As Lights was speaking to financially, we're finally in the best situation that we've been in years. And we're finally getting to reinvest in our infrastructure and doing things that are right and purposeful and knowing where the future is going to take us, so that we can secure our future as well. So without further ado, let me get started on our old hangars. Everybody remember they looked like corncob yellow, right? No longer. Everything is Ace now. Ace is gray, blue, and red. As a matter of fact, I painted my car, I painted my house. Everything is Ace, because instead of Lights following me around on a bike, I bought a tandem, so he rides in the back. True story. You think I'm kidding? The old hangar paint, we needed to make it uniform. So my guys did a bunch of heavy lifting this year. They pressure washed inside and out of each hangar that's 20,000 square foot. B, C, D, commercial security, E hangar, pilot mall. Think about that coverage. So there's the interior of B hangar. After it was repainted, we repainted inside of B. We didn't do C or D, we just pressure washed them. There's the exterior hangar B that's repainted. There's D hangar. Pilot mall. Looks different, right? Looks really good. My guys did an awesome job. I also wanted to let you know that I love my chairman. You know, we're all a big team, and I appreciate you guys taking your time as a volunteer out here. So when I hear stuff or I see stuff and we do stuff purposely, is Wendy here from PartsMart? I don't know if she. Okay. Well, either way, for whatever reason, for many years, we used to have a shed inside a hangar. That didn't make sense to me. So we built them an office. So this year in E-Hangar, PartsMart has a purposeful office that they can work out of. Looks a little more professional, right, than a shed. All right, where's Teresa? Is she out here? There you are in the back. Thought I forgot about you, didn't you? Yeah, I know. I didn't. All your trams came in this week to put new tires on them. Was that heard? There we go. All right. Our volunteer staff, the volunteers that work for us in maintenance, they're volunteers, they're early birds, they're here with a purpose. These guys and girls are just incredible. I mean, they are just pumping out work left and right on top of the stuff that my guys have to get done. So thank you to my early birds that are here and my year-round volunteers, my yearly birds as well. Corn roast. Sorry, the trailer's gone. Finally. Actually, you know what? By the suggestion of the chairman of the corn roast. They said, we don't use it anymore. I said, it's an eyesore. I'm not painting it. That's why I didn't paint it. I wanted it to stand out. So we made it disappear. I'm really good at that. It's amazing how much stuff I can fit in a dumpster, or as I like to call it, the big red filing cabinet. Our Visit Central Florida tourism building needed a little repaint, a ceiling, some lights, so we got that done. The Textron building, Cessna, go down there and check it out now. It's a real event facility. We tore out all the landscaping and redid it. I don't want to make any promises, but I'm hoping that we'll get that painted by the fly-in, and I don't want my guys to hear me. Because if they make the sprayer one more time, they're going to kill me. We put a new driveway on Sunset Grill with drainage. Finally, you know, all the cracks and stuff that were in there, it wasn't professional looking, and it was a trip hazard. So, you know, we reinvest in there because Sunset Grill's here to stay. New golf carts, it's always a thing every year. I can count on it. I can put money on it. We need more golf carts. We need more golf carts. Last year I bought 2 golf carts. This year I bought 2 more utility carts to get our volunteer staff around the campus so we can get these jobs done. It's hard to get around 178 acres. It really is. So we're being, you know, pointed, as one would say, with purpose. Got another mower. They looked at me and I said, I need a new mower. They said, you bought 2 mowers last year. I said, I know. And the other mower, that we were down to 1 mower 2 years ago, has about 17,000 hours on it. So now we got to keep rotating, right? Because out here, you literally can, when you mow Camp Duffy, I'm here to tell you, I make one swipe, I turn around, I can see the grass growing when I go back. It's incredible. Our new dump truck, we got a 2008 F650 dump truck. So that was well needed so we can get our assets around the campus and also get a lot of this heavy lifting of construction done around here. The way the campus looks today, it has never looked better. And it just didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen without that team and being able to have the right tools to get the job done. Our new utility trailer, we bought a 24-foot utility trailer. And why is that a big deal? Because as ACE has developed, some of the people that really believe in our mission have donated their aircraft to us. Well, sometimes you can't fly all the aircraft. You got to go pick them up. Well, unfortunately, the parade float trailer that was built in '74 wasn't going to do it on I-75. So now we have a new trailer to get that done. Our Camp Duffy electric upgrades turned everything over to 50 amp finally. Chairman? By the way, I listened to you. And maybe because I live out there, I didn't want, you know, anyone knocks on my door. I'm just kidding. We put a new roof on the country store. That roof was completely rotted. They actually had to pull the entire roof off, resheet it, and then I put a metal roof on it. So with a purpose moving forward. So you guys are protected. New radio station roof, right? It's hard to talk onto the microphone when the rain's coming in on you. So we got a new roof on the radio station. Crossfield. Where's Dave McQuarrie? Right there at the camera. Dave will tell you every time it rained, 2 5-gallon buckets of water. Here comes Dave. That's not a lie. In our closet. Finally, we were able to afford a new roof, and it turned out really nice. Again, a metal roof, good for 40 years, so I'm happy about that. The new air conditioning for the Skylight Hangar restrooms. You know, again, with 91 events, and we're diversifying our portfolio in case of that rainy day that Light speaks about. We host other events out here with a purpose. So if we lose a day or two, it's not as impactful. And part of that was, you know, we have air conditioning in the hangar, so it was great if you were there for a wedding or a quinceañera or whatever the case may be, the Visti ball tonight. But then you walk in the bathroom, it's 106. You'll be surprised where toilet paper can stick. Yep, that was me. So now you'll be nice and cool. When number 1's taking to number 2, you're welcome. I know. I'll see you in HR on Monday. Ceiling fans in Hangar A. I had the unique opportunity this year. Gene was nice enough to invite me. I don't know why. I may have roofied him, I may not. To invite me to go to Oshkosh. And what an experience it was. And one of the things that I really picked up on while I was up there was they have fans in their hangars. And it was just enough air movement, you know, to keep their guests comfortable. So right now, the electricians are in the process of hanging 120 ceiling fans. That's a monumental task. B, C, D hangar, and also Sunset Grove. All right. Do you want to make the call? The next slide. All right. So Lights has a request here, as always. That's why we love it. Hold on a minute. Hold on. You made me feel so big all the time, Jimmy. All right. Yeah, jump over to this one. Come on. So we got a new board member on the Sun and Fun board, a gentleman by the name of Roland Becker. He and his wife Linnea are very generous and have loved Sun and Fun for quite a while. They have donated in excess of $250,000, $250,000 in hangar doors. So all those higher power doors you see around here are at his gift to us. This is the most recent one. This is about a $28,000 door on the north side of Hangar D. That's where we keep all of our active aircraft. So no longer do I have to call Tim to push my airplane out so I can go fly. The doors automatically open up and it slides right out. So what I want you to do is I'm going to hold up the video camera here and we're all going to say, thank you, Roland, okay? All right, you ready for this? We're going to send it to him because he's a new board member and he puts his money where his mouth is. So here we are at the 2020 Sun and Fun Fly-In Kickoff with all the great leaders of our different departments, all the chairmen of the volunteer force. So what do we say, folks? Thank you, Roland! All right, let's have a good one. Get off of my stage. I was going to say that too. Actually, you know, the cool thing about Roland, if you guys haven't met him, he's normally at the south end of A hangar during our event. And general aviation, he's the only guy I know. He has an air cam, and he lives in Michigan. And he flew it 11 out of 12 months last year. I'm like, how do you do that? Don't you have ice and stuff? He's like, I'll find an opening. Whatever. Now this has been, these doors, by the way, I just want to let you know, Jeremy Brown from the Raiders. I'll tell you what, godsend, all right? He's just been so important to this whole process. He actually brings out one of his employees, Art, who I get a kick out of, caffeine and nicotine as I like to call him. But they hang these doors. We install those doors. You can't imagine what a major undertaking it was to rip the whole front of that hangar off because of the rolling doors that were there last time and weld this thing up and put it together. So when you see Jeremy, please thank him. He's done just an awesome job. And with that being said, all Jeremy said was, well, I'd like to have a new location for my compactor. And I said, I already have it on my list because it drives me absolutely nuts that our visitors, when they come in here the other 11 months of the year, you drive right into a trash receptacle, right? So now I turn it the other way, put it up against the golf cart path, and it blends right into the tree line. And it's a lot easier for the Raiders, and we did a couple upgrades there. So Raiders, I was listening to you. Moment of silence. I'm sorry, Linda. Our old camping registration, unfortunately, when we towed it across the way, it was so rusty it went bonk. Broke the counters right off the wall. So with a purpose now, this week I'll have 2 Connex containers, actually 3 Connex containers delivered. One's going to be for home built. So our home built guys, guess what? You no longer have to use a pod. You no longer have to fill up the home built building. This year I'm putting you in a Connex, it'll be locked up, we'll move it out to the 42 and we can take it back and forth with a purpose. The other 2 Connexes I'm going to turn into ticket offices for camping registration in their new location. Okay, our haul route, right? The airport's haul route. New camping registration. Guys, wait till you see this. It is incredible. Right now it's at gate 150 off of Hamilton Road. and it is just gonna be awesome. When this is done, this year, the word for 2020 is temporary, because I wanna figure out what's the best way, working hand in hand with Randy, Linda, and the staff of what that layout's gonna be, so then future down the road, we know where to put utilities with the help of the airport. But again, we couldn't have done it without them. They designated the haul route for the runway paving project with a purpose. They heard us, they knew what our needs were, they knew they were evicting us out of the old location, but they didn't do it without having a plan. And that's what's so great about working with the team at the airport. They're always a step ahead of me. Relocating. Are you evicting me out of my maintenance building? Yes, you are. You just said it. I'm done arguing. Lakeland Aero Club build out with a purpose, right? We closed either end in, so they have an actual sim room for the full motion Redbird simulator, and also a meeting room on the west side. The meeting room is now the home of Chapter 454 EAA. They have a permanent home. So check that out while you're here. That turned out really nice. All right, the culverts, right? That's what Gene and Chris were talking about, and Adam. I don't know how they got it done. I'll be honest with you. I just don't. It was a monumental Herculean task. I can't thank them enough. When they built these roads and the culverts, they raised up the road, right, and they widened them so it's safer and more convenient. There's some walkways on either side of the road there. You'll see it on Rocky Road. I'm gonna ask, pretty please, because we have to set an example. Our campus speed limit's 10 miles an hour. I don't want to have to call the tower for clearance when you guys are ripping down Rocky Road or Laird, okay? Because it's easily done now. But it is just incredible. So hopefully we don't get flooded. We used to get locked on the west side of the campus. We'd have to go through the early birds to get out. Not anymore. So thank you guys. There's Laird. That was I'll tell you what, that was the beginning part of last week. I took that picture Monday. That's Wednesday. All right? So it's incredible, and it looks even better now. There's a bunch of cones on it, but it's incredible what's gotten done. So on top of just a couple of these things and the events that I speak about, what else are we working on? The future Henderson Memorial Site for Billy Henderson, our founder, right? With a purpose, we got donations. So we are gonna make an area, obviously, as you can see by the vertical riser in the 727, with a purpose, and it'll be part of our master plan. So we're working towards that. Great things, more to come. All right, again, temporary this year, but we're gonna figure out how it's gonna look and start populating it with assets. Over our off season, we also helped out our friends at the Bahamas with Hurricane Dorian, all right, with all the relief efforts. We actually filled up 7, 8 tractor trailers worth of stuff out of Sea Hanger. So on top of everything else we're doing, we're able to help others. I'm proud of that. Our Joshua tree got it a haircut. Didn't it look good? Yeah. Our radioactive dumpster. After Parks Mart this past year, we take everything out that people leave, throw it in the dumpster. Dumpster people called me and said, I'm bringing your dumpster back. I said, good, it's empty, right? Nope. He said it set off the Geiger counter in Tampa. I went, sure it did. He pulled in with my full dumpster, and I called our friend Jeff Kincart, who's on the board, and I said, Jeff, you don't have a Geiger counter, do you? Because there's no app for it on my iPhone. He goes, what do you need a Geiger counter for? I said, they're telling me my metal dumpster's radioactive. And sure enough, that needle's pegged on that Geiger counter. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a term bank indicator, right? The radium on it set off the... We had to dig in there. And here's the other great thing about my maintenance team. If I would have said, when I was in 2nd grade and 3 Mile Island was melting down on me, we all left school like this. My guys are like, let's go dumpster diving. I'm like, dude, it's radioactive. Boom, and they go. I'm like, whatever. You're gonna have a hairline like mine. Last but not, I think this is my last slide. So there you go, I'm saving you. Our master site plan. And why is this so purposeful? Our master site plan committee, led by Bob Beatty and the rest of the crew, I want to thank each and every one of you for everything that you did and you continue to do. Right now we're in phase 1 of that, identifying our assets. And really this is monumental. It's our first master site plan in 46 years. All right, and we teamed up with Atkins, who did the master site plan for the airport. But Gene Gene told us, he gave us a mission, and he said, listen, we're gonna help you out, but we need a plan. We need to know when we have the earth open, what do you want there in the future? And this is really cool. So we're in the process of phase 1. We've committed the monies this past year to get our inventory in line and our leaseholds and everything that Gene kind of alluded to. And then the next phase will be the fun part. That's when you guys all get to take a piece of paper that's blank with your Crayolas and draw that little area like Gene said and imagine away. How cool is that, right? So, guys, thank you for everything. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you in 59 days. I'd now like to introduce Greg Gibson. He's a real team member.
Thank you, Tim. I'd like to compliment you on being a member yourself. Hi, back. You know, as we go through all these things, these slides can get kind of laborious, but at the same time, the importance of what we're trying to do here is obviously becoming more and more obvious. You'll see physical evidence on the campus as we go forward. And I want to congratulate Member Tim for all of the outstanding work. This place looks so much different now than it even did just even a few months ago. So another round of applause for our maintenance team. And as far as, I had sort of a moment here last year with some of my coverage of my position in the company. And it occurred to me, this year that, I really know less than half of you half as well as I would like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. So I want to try to move on with that and start to get a better relationship. And I think that actually gets everybody learn about the people that are around you. There's a lot of interactions. There's a lot of comings and goings. People that have the different roles. And I got to tell you, the appreciation that we have for each other, I think sometimes could use some work. Having a respect for what the photographers go through in order to capture what we do, respect for air ops and what they have to do to keep things from happening that we don't want to happen. Certainly our friends at the FAA that are out there looking out for us. And I will tell you, our FSDO group, the people that we work with out of the Orlando FSDO, the people we work out with the Tampa ATC, they catch a lot of flack, and they are truly here to help. And I want to recognize, we've got Jen Anderson, Bill Leach, and Joe, is Joe here? Yep, there he is. There's Joe, and your last name is killing me. Grubzinski, is that right? Okay. Bob Jackson's back here also, Russ Argus, Mike, Miguel, Steve Moore, who's also our chief, our IIC, who couldn't be here today. If we could just recognize our FAA family, we really appreciate you guys. On the subject of keeping it real, we talk about our fantastic school, we talk about the programs we have, but one thing that may have escaped you is one of our, actually I think it's our newest member of the staff, Tabitha Reichert, who a lovely young lady back here. Tabitha, would you stand up for just 1 second? She does not know this is coming. She has no idea what I'm about to do. But yes, give her a hand. Tabitha, if you ever see our video, you'll notice there's a young lady walking underneath of the Cessna 182, and that happens to be former CFAA student, Race Scholarship recipient, and pilot Tabitha Reichert, who now is an employee and the office coordinator for the Aerospace Center for Excellence. So this is an example of what we try to do. You can keep standing if you like, but you can sit down. To the topic of just the general scope of work that we do here, looking at the chart there that Light showed as far as the financial gain. He's right, that's you guys, that's our team, that's the people that make this happen, that people come out here year after year and say, I know I'm going back. I know I'm going to go, so I'm going to go ahead and buy my ticket. Those things are starting to happen sooner and sooner and sooner as we go forward, and that is a testament to the quality of the event, the quality of presentation that happens here when they come onto these grounds. We're taking care of people. They're coming back, they're showing that appreciation. And the topic of showmanship is really where that all comes together. It's how people perceive who we are, what we do, how we do it, and how we interact with them which has a lot to do, with how we interact with each other. So making certain that professionalism, that quality of presentation happens constantly and intentionally, and to continue the term of purposefully that Gene has brought up, and it's their mantra these days with the airport, we absolutely are committed to that value as well. So keep that in mind as we look at things. You've already produced a result, you set the bar pretty high, and we're looking forward to raising that forward as we go. On the topic of Gene, I know you get a lot of thanks, but I got to tell you, I didn't go to the 15th presentation from the city. And I even asked Gene before, I said, do we need to be there to show you some solidarity, show you some support? And he goes, no, I think we'll be good. And the reason I know that was true is because everything he was telling the city through the partnership that we have with the airport, the Sun and Fun team already knew. They keep us in the loop. We communicate daily on everything, and they have made full disclosure, full offering of the things that come forward. They talk to us, they consult with us, and they make things happen with our full knowledge. So all these things that you're seeing, the master plan, the different things that we're going through, they had us teed up for it as we go through that process in full awareness, and so now we're even more prepared than we might have been otherwise. So Gene, once again, thank you. And anybody that thought Sun and Fun was going to get shut down because of the airport expansion, all the doomers and gloomers, I'm going to quote my favorite president, the pinnacle, I think, of the presidential role is embodied in former President Ronald Reagan. And he said, in reference to the opposition in this case, he said, it's not that these people are ignorant, it's just they know so many things that aren't true. Classic Reagan. If you ever just want a good afternoon, just Google up Reagan's speeches and you'll have a good time. So, all right, on with the slides here, but that thought was very poignant and relevant. Airside operations, this is kind of some rehash. Like Adam said, we're going to have very few changes when it comes to this. The non-movement area is everything south of taxiway Delta, and everything north of that is under control by the airport. So once they get off, they're basically off the runway, it comes to us, and we're going to continue that going forward, no real changes. The NOAA facility, please, no entry down there. That is a United States government facility. It is controlled. If you're in there and you are not authorized to be so, you will be escorted in one way or another. And it's up to them how that happens. So respect for that boundary down there, and you'll know what it is when you see it. Draken, as you're moving around during the days prior to the fly-in, they are fully operational. There's a good possibility some of those jets could be moving back and forth, so keep an eye on that. It's fun to watch. Please stay out of the way, give way. They do have the right of way. Let's see, it's hard to see this thing. So flight training as well. Part of the success of the airport has come from the increase in flight training activity, and they're going to be functioning all the way up until we stop them. So they have revenue to make, they have students to get flown, and all the things that we're trying to support are happening through those flight schools. So please support our neighbors and don't impede them in that operation, and be careful as they're taxiing back and forth. Some of these are student pilots, so take that as you may, but you want to make sure you're staying out of their way. The new apron, which is not new this year, but it was new last year, I want to remind you that that apron is not for our use, that is for the use of the tenants. So the aprons that are on the south side next to Sunrise Aviation down there is not available for our use. That is their leasehold, and their aircraft will be on it, so let's not utilize that for any purposes that we have. Welcoming this year some old friends that are great volunteers for us year-round and have been participants here. John and Nan Walsh will be working ground advisory from Friday through Sunday. We made the decision late last year, immediately following the flying last year. There's so much activity that I just described prior. On those dates, we are bringing in a professional team to keep an eye on that, so really that we don't have to, and that we keep that safety mission paramount. So if you see John and Nan, welcome them. Nan, of course, was the assistant airport director here for a number of years, and they've been fixtures here and huge supporters of the Lakeland Aero Club. So when you see them, make sure you make them feel welcome. It is a volunteer role for them as well. All right, so on the air side, we started a pretty aggressive program of reducing the number of vehicles on the air side. Guys, this is still an airport. I know we turned it into a circus for a week and we have to hand it back. It is an airport always. It's a Part 139 governed by the Code of Federal Regulations, FAA policed airport. And it does have restrictions to adhere to. They have guidance that they are responsible for. They will have an inspection out here just prior to the event kickoff that the FAA is making certain that their ground control plan is being observed and adhered to. So we are obligated as the airport's partner to maintain that so that they get a good report and we can keep doing what we do the way we'd like to. That said, over the last couple of years, we've observed that the vehicles on airside are problematic. There need to be fewer of them. So I urge you, if you do not need to be driving on the airside, I'm not just talking about the Warbird ramp, I'm talking about anything on the airport side of the fence. That's everything outside of the Sun and Fun leasehold property. That's the air side. And if you don't need to be driving, please don't. Try to carpool, try to buddy up. Those things are becoming an issue. And as you'll see in a moment, we have a couple of mitigating projects that are going to help take care of that. But this includes, ATVs, golf carts, scooters, motorcycles, etc. They're not allowed on the air side without a pass period, and that does not mean just during the show hours. If you or someone you know has come out of the campground just wanting to go ride around on the air side and they don't have a pass, they can't. That's not authorized. They may not go. So that is the rule of it. So if someone dragged a golf cart in and they think they're going to go look at the airplanes right before sunset, they don't have a pass, we should be trying to get them to understand the need for that and that they will not be able to do so. So again, more anecdotal at this point than policy. We'd really like to make it to where we don't have to go there, but things evolve, we may have to. So keep that in mind, please. Reporting. We're going to go into this in detail in the Air Ops meeting, which by the way will happen right here in this pavilion following the meeting after you grab your lunch. So just note for that, Flipper and his fine team will be here to bring some extended news on this topic. But airplane versus anything. If an airplane makes, unwanted contact with a person, a vehicle, a fence, a turtle, whatever, then that is a reportable incident that the airport must be notified of. And the process is like this. Make certain that that the area is secure and safe. Report it to your chairman. All right, the chairman, which is most of you guys, this is what you're going to take to your people. Your chairman gets the report. Immediately, I personally get that notification. So airplane versus anything. So I get that notification and I will translate that information to the airport, who will then write up the report that we will use in order to handle any insurance claims or whatever happened on this side. But the airport absolutely has to know when these things happen. We had several kind of silly incidents happen last year. One of them involved a fuel spill. And it gets pretty serious. So at the same time that you're making those notifications, act appropriately in order to make certain that safety is observed. Those things need to happen as well. So chairman, it's going to be your job to get involved and make certain that should airplane versus anything happen, that you begin to act accordingly to those instructions. So we'll cover that more in Air Ops, which will ultimately be the ones handling that type of situation. But that's the flow. And I did notice a young lady walk in a moment ago that I want to recognize, and she didn't see her earlier, but she sent me the cutest text. Karen O'Farrell, where are you? There she is back there. This is a young lady right there. She's dark deep into the FAA, AFS 600 and above here. She's really something else. But I'd like to give Karen a round of applause. She really loves herself. She has worked either in front of or behind the scenes for years, and she is my guardian angel. So thank you, by the way. We're going to make use of that last little text. And many Bothans died bringing us this information. So we're going to do that. And that's no moon. It's a space station. Okay. All right. So procedure following, everybody obviously has the red flag, we know this. If you see something, say something and do something. Okay, that's the new additive to this. See something, say something, act. Okay? Okay, aircraft parking overview. If you notice, and you'll see on the master plan documents that Gene and Adam and Chris have got in the back there for you to look at after the meeting here, you'll notice this rectangle where I've got show planes is a protected area. We showed this last year, kind of hinting at the communication we've been referencing between us and the airport. That area, and just to make it real simple, if someone brings an airplane to be seen, it goes in that rectangle. Now there's obviously other stuff in there, but that's the general display area over the next 50 years that we're looking at putting display show aircraft. We brought it to be appreciated and seen by the public. That's where it goes. If you flew it in to look at those airplanes, then it goes in the every other plane spot. Okay, I can't make it any simpler. So that's the overriding goal of where we're trying to go with how we organize the airport for our purposes when we take possession of it for Sun and Fun. And as we go forward, you'll see how that plan will develop over the 10-year plan that Gene's outlined. This past year, this was the parking plan for, and Laura, by the way, is going to be posting these online, and this is an eye chart for, I was sitting in the back and I'm going, I have no idea what they have up there. So these will be in the slides that she'll have posted online for you. But essentially, the 19 plan at the moment is in effect. We are trying to make some changes to where we would relocate Home Built to what we will make its forever home, along with infrastructure, some other things that are happening. Right now, one of the things that we're working on is a runway safety mitigation project, which involves taking some trees out and creating what we can utilize as a campground on the south side of the field. At the moment, we're hamstrung by some equipment availability and just the clock's running on us, so we may or may not be able to get that done. We'll have a final for you in the next meeting. But should that happen, we intend to go ahead and make Home Built's permanent home. At least we'll have a representation in there, and then a plan for developing it going forward that I think our Home Built team will be pretty excited about. How you doing? Hi, guys. They put up with a lot, so I think the end result of this is going to be nothing short of spectacular. So we're looking forward to that. We also have, just so that you know, and I don't have a slide for it, but in the vein of getting Home Built, much more recognized as the founding entity of both the AA and Sun and Fun. We just so that everybody knows that we know we're not here without Home Built. Home Built is the innovators. Home Built are the people that make people ask questions. They make people challenge the paradigms of commercial aviation and all the things that come from. Home Built is how we have a Xena 750 available to be able to modify and have our students participate in. Home Built is absolutely critical to the future of the Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo and the Aerospace Center for Excellence. That is absolutely not in question. So while we make some of these changes, know that that is the flag we're under as we go forward with it. That being the case, we've had to move them because they were front and center. Now with the airport development, FAA requirements and different things that we have, they're going to be in a new home. But once it gets finished, it will definitely be a showcase. We've acquired an Acris Court 2 that was built by Al Smith from near Valdosta, Georgia, a small town up there. Show winner at Oshkosh, made it into sport pilot aviation a couple different times, was featured. The aircraft is being donated to us. It's currently on loan while we work out the paperwork. This thing is absolutely beautiful. And we're actually planning on having Bump Chase fly this aircraft during the flying for people to see and appreciate it. We've got his build logs. We've got all the things. The family's going to come down. We really want to celebrate the quality of the aircraft that was a regular Sun and Fun participant. Al unfortunately passed on in May, and his family reached out to us thinking they could find no better place for that aircraft to be than Sun and Fun. So we're going to honor that legacy. So more to come. I'll have some slides for you at the next meeting. All right, Warbird ramp layout and parking plan, very, very similar. It will remain a static ramp. Again, if you do not need to drive on that, that includes golf carts. Don't. Stay around the perimeters, walk in, walk out. Obviously, if there's a delivery or something that needs to be made, that's fine. But we have got to sanitize that. There will be literally billions of dollars worth of United States government assets on that, along with guys with guns guarding them. So don't test them. Please don't put me in a position to have to apologize to one of those guys in flak jackets. They are serious about what they're doing. Some of the hardware that's coming is impressive, and I'd like to thank Brett Krause and Shelley, of course, who makes Brett. Shelley makes Brett possible. And of course, Doug Friedman, who also helps with the Warbird layout and whatnot. We have a very exciting year planned for the heavy aircraft in particular that are coming in, and I'll go through some of the show schedule in a moment. I'd like to make sure that we're always parking in designated parking zones. There's going to be a sharp gasp of breath here shortly when I announce one parking area that's being relieved. I'll look forward to that. The parking next to the Warbird building or the Performer tent, please don't. I know we have meetings there and that'll happen before the gates open, but let's make sure that we don't park in that area. I don't think you can see it, but Performer tents on the northeast corner of the Warbird ramp. Warbird building is on the fence on the west side of the Warbird ramp, and bridge is the fence in between the core area and airside. So please don't park there. There's a lot of congestion. I think I covered everything on that slide. Oh, last thing there. As always, tram courtesy. Don't pass the trams. If you see the tram, go way around somewhere else. Just don't pass the tram. They can't react. They can't stop those things on a dime. And if they do, you see people flying out of the tram, teeth, hair, and eyes all over the concrete. We don't want that. Make sure that we keep that tram courtesy in mind as you see them. Yes, they're slow. They're supposed to be, but they're keeping people from having to walk. If you go diving around in a golf cart, you don't know which guy is going to be Rambo and jump off that thing because he doesn't want to wait for the tram to stop. We do not need a single accident to happen on this field. One single accident, and all the Project Skylab, all the Sun and Fun fly-in, if we have some sort of an incident that goes down, that gets in the newspapers, we're cooked. We're cooked, and we're all responsible for making sure that that doesn't happen. So please take it that seriously. We've built something great here. You all have spent 46 years putting together a legacy that should endure for the next 50 and beyond. And all it takes is one stupid thing to happen for all that to go away. So let's make sure that we're keeping that in mind and take it that seriously. Okay, just the Warbird ramp area, static ramp, and Brett, I'll get better at that. It's a static ramp. You'll see kind of a thoroughfare down on the bottom, heavy aircraft toward the top. Those are not specific. There is a specific layout. Brett's got some pretty impressive stuff coming in here. But the general idea is that you'll have the large and modern military assets to the north side of the ramp. Peppered in underneath them will be other aircraft, and it is a display that is epic. I'd like to see somebody that thinks anyone's got one better. This is one of the best displays of aircraft in the military thread that you can see anywhere in the world, and we're very proud of it. And it's taken a lot of work to get here. And it started again with the airport development with that fantastic ramp. So thank you again. Tinkerbell is in there. Okay. All right. Here's the gas. No more lime lot. It's gone. We are making room for aircraft on the airport. And the area that was previously consumed by the parking area just south of the Warbird ramp is now being sanitized and will have Aerobatic HQ, which has had a very limited space. One of the things we're trying to do is attract in a lot of Pitts aircraft that are celebrating the 75th anniversary of the type. So Curtis Pitts introduced the aircraft 75 years ago. We're going to be celebrating that. We need a place to park them. So Aerobatic HQ is going to consume the area that used to be the line lot. All line lot traffic will now simply be parking what we're going to call airside parking. We'll get down to the actual parking pass probably in the next meeting, but this is to the east of runway 523. There are certain areas that the parking will be unaffected. It'll be very limited, but it'll be restricted to those who have a specific need to be parking in that area. Everybody else will park over here on the airside parking area. There's a lot of rooms, a lot more space. It's at least as nice as where it was. It's not as convenient, but I got this crazy idea that we're going to try to put airplanes on the airport, cars in parking lots, and campers in campgrounds. So as we continue to move forward, I know it's radical. It's radical. It's almost like Tim came up with it. So we're going to try to get this thing done over the next several years in conjunction with the airport master planning. One thing I will tell you is that we will never evict anybody without trying to give them a place to go. Again, Homebuilt, I know this takes a little longer than we'd like, but we're trying to make certain that we don't just kick somebody out and to the wind and hopefully figure it out. That's not our intention at all. We want to try to get a plan together to where we, at minimum, give them what they had and hopefully improve the experience, because it's very important for everybody to have a good experience when they come, and that definitely starts with you guys. All right, maybe a couple of rumors running around about what we're now calling air show control. A big thing this year is that we are evacuating the previous announcer stand, the Roscoe Morton announcer stand, which, by the way, will continue to be named that. We are not getting rid of that name. But that facility is being evacuated for air show control. So the air boss, the air show announcers, sound, all of the functions that have taken place in the previous announcer stand are now being moved to what we're calling air show control. I'm pretty sure you can't see the image behind the words there, but it looks kind of like that. So this is a facility that is being built. It's made out of, on the bottom layer, is 3 40-foot connexes that are 8 feet deep and are modular. They are connected together to form about 600 square feet of office space in the bottom, and roughly, so probably about 150 square feet of storage and access space that the rear connex creates. So that platform that those 3 connexes create forms the base for the second story. One 40-foot Connex that has glass all the way down the front is an observation area. It's a VIP observation area. We're going to sell it to people for a lot of money, so we paid for the damn thing. So that is where those people are going to have access to. And the fun part is they do not have access to the upstairs area. Now this, I'll have pictures of the real things. I went and saw it. They're actually being built in Mulberry right now. But the 20 feet to the west side or the left or the stage right side of this image where you see the tower platform, that's actually going to be consumed by a 20-foot Connex, so yet a third floor with office space. So that will have that, and that will perform a pretty solid function here shortly. The top of that now, instead of being the 10 feet you see, is actually 20 feet long, and that's where the air boss and the air show announcers will be. So air show operations, live air show TV, Jay Rabbit and his radio operations, air show announcers' offices will all be in the bottom, VIP in the middle, and then more air show operations and camera platforms on top. So some more pictures of what that looks like. There's just another angle of it. That is a walk-around deck. This is an actual shot of the inside. It's pretty impressive. So that's the bottom floor. And then again, like I said, it houses the air show functions for the air boss, the announcers, sound system, live air show TV, and most importantly, the single function that launched the need for this thing in the first place is that we're going to recognize one of the great pioneers of the Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo, Duffy. I had the honor of getting to know Duffy for about a year before he passed, and that was some of the most entertaining times I can recall being here. He was a true gentleman. He had such an interesting perspective, and he loved everybody here a lot. And I think it's important to know that we know as a staff how important that legacy is. So having Duffy's Tower back in action, the the east side of that upper tower will have 3 sides of windows where the Duffy's Tower crew, ground control crew, can see the entire movement area of what we're responsible for and be able to operate from there. So thank you very much to the Air Ops team for working hard. They came up with a lot of different ideas, and without the ideas that they came up with, this probably wouldn't have happened because it took that start in order to get to where it's at. It did kind of grow a little bit, got a little bit out of control, but what we came up with is pretty impressive. Going back to the concept of keeping us, in the forefront of presentation excellence, making sure that our showmanship. I did find out yesterday that on the back side of this, we're actually the company that built it's going to put on a 20-foot LED screen as well. So we're actually adding another Jumbotron screen to the fabric of what we do. The whole back side of that thing is one big giant billboard. The corrugated metal that you see there will be covered up with actual printed fiberglass panels so we can turn it into anything we want. And by the way, you can rent out the bottom, the middle, the top and the middle, the bottom and the top, the bottom and the middle, any combination thereof. We've come to find out that there's several weddings that are interested in renting it out. One air show is probably going to rent it, so it looks like we should probably have a pretty good revenue stream coming out of this sucker over the next several years. So it's turned out to be a great benefit that we really were worried when Duffy's Tower blew over, but now it's starting to turn into something that could be really positive. Okay. That's good. All right, get your cameras out. Air show start times, to make it simple, Tuesday and Wednesday, air show will start at 1:30 and 5:30. The night show on Wednesday night starts at 7:30. Thursday, important day, actually Thursday through Sunday, we're going to start the air show at 12:30. The Thunderbirds do not arrive until 4 o'clock on Thursday, so for our camping guests that are always concerned about when we're going to evacuate the campground, we're looking at 1,500 hours, so 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll have it cleared 1 hour before the Thunderbirds arrive, and that'll be pretty consistent throughout the week, as the Thunderbirds very generously have already agreed to start their flight operations at 4 o'clock. So that's always kind of the mitigating factor. I have to look at when they're going to take the airspace and work backwards for the air show schedule, so they've been very accommodating this year, and we're very appreciative of that. Everybody got it? And again, it's going out. Yes, sir.
Is there going to be an early morning balloon flight?
Early morning what now?
Balloon launch?
Balloon launch on Saturday, yes sir, 7 a.m.
Okay.
And early morning daily, I think they have opportunities for that as well. I'll cover that as Gary. Where's Gary?
He just
Okay, we'll cover that in the next meeting. But yes, balloons are as usual. There is no change in our balloon profile. Weather permitting, of course. Field opens daily at 0700, closes daily at 19:30, 7:30 in the evening. The air show ends at 17:30 daily, 5:30. Live air show TV and pre-flight show on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will take place from noon till 1 o'clock. We'll probably, BJ, we're going to fudge that and give them the occupants of what you guys have got. We'll move that around to make sure you guys have got plenty of time. Again, clearing the campground, evacuated no later than 3 o'clock. One thing that I didn't include on this slide, I have more on it because I'm still collecting a lot of this stuff, but when we talk about the air show highlights, we've got the U.S., I'll get a slide for you on what I'm about to tell you, but the Thunderbird, of course, F-35 Lightning II demos. First time we've had the F-35 here doing the demonstration flights. They'll be here all week. They're on the air show schedule daily. So this is a huge thing for us, especially given that we're also going to have Lockheed Martin in attendance with the actual flight simulator that trains the F-35 pilots. This is a several $1 million piece of hardware, and oh Ed, I forgot to tell you, we're going to put it in your museum. Heads up, okay. It's not real big, but it'll be cool. Very neat, multiple screen, lights landed, and I think, what was it, the 3-wire? Yeah, okay. And they commented that they were actually able to use the machine again after lights got through flying it, so that was good. I did talk to Tom Haley, whose call sign is Comet, and we were talking a little bit about lights and his legacy in the Air Force. Of course, known as the most arrested man in the Navy. Oh, I'm sorry, was that the Navy? My bad. Alabama, Auburn, sorry, Dean. Of course, the United States Navy. Definitely, still the most arrested man. We were on the subject of his landings. You know, I was telling him comment, and he seemed to agree with me that every landing doesn't have to be a carrier landing. You know, you can use the struts on the aircraft and appreciate it if you actually step up to their capabilities instead of every one of those things being an arrested landing. I just want you to know that. Okay, Tom agreed with me. And so did the simulator, by the way. Short takeoff and landing competition. We saw this at Oshkosh this past year. We were blown away by the number of people that attended it. It was thousands. Now, we saw it at Oshkosh first, and then we saw it again at Reno. So 2 different things we're working on for short takeoff and landing. There is a competition. Single ship comes in, takes off, lands. It's all about how far or not they can land the aircraft and take it off in. There's also a STOL drag race that we observed at Reno that was just unreal to watch, and the aircraft take off in a very short space in parallel, and they literally race down to one end of the field, turn around and come back, and whoever gets back first wins. We're struggling a little bit with the actual footprint of the race itself, but we will have some manifestation of that the FAA will be very pleased with. Trust me, it's okay, just trust me, it'll be all right. We're working closely with the airport to figure out what that footprint could look like. But the thousands of people that showed up just to see the competition alone at Oshkosh was stunning. So in the effort to help us build and keep that audience robust down in Paradise City, we plan to have this in the evenings, at least 3 evenings, probably 4 evenings, to have that competition take place with aircraft like you see here. Huskies with the big fat tires coming in, and the people that come in to fly them are they're pretty interesting characters themselves. They're kind of like the surfers of the skies. You hear the word dude a lot. So we're looking forward to that, and it'll be something really exciting. We'll have some video for you next time. Tailhook Legacy flights are planned at the moment. We're still waiting on the Navy to come up with their schedule on what the F-18 Super Hornet schedule looks like. But right now it's tentative. We've been verbally told that that's going to happen. The Warbird shows, we're planning on actually expanding the Warbird shows to an hour on Wednesday and Thursday to make sure some of the liaison aircraft, and we can do some more interesting things with some of the heavies because it takes a little more time. That's in direct response to some social media requests and requests by the Warbirds to have some more time in the air. Thus, that'll increase their attendance, which we certainly appreciate. So look for that on Wednesday and Thursday. Lewis Air Legends have committed to coming back. I've been told that Glacier Girl's down for maintenance. They found metal in the right engine when they were doing the annual, so it's unlikely she'll be able to make it. But it looks like the De Havilland Mosquito should make an appearance. So that'll be the first time for an aircraft of that type to be here in, I believe, the history of Sunshine. I'm not aware that one's been here before. So we're waiting on that. Heritage flights, of course, along with the F-35, we'll have the Mustang and other assets that may show up for the Air Force that are part of the Heritage program. We'll have those as usual. Wall of fire and fireworks, and then we're going to do the drone show again. No, to testament the character of the drone guys from our Great Lakes Drone Company came up to me at ICAS with a check reimbursing us for the expenses we had for the operation that wasn't, unless you want to consider it a stealth drone show. In that case, it was a great deal. But I tell you, just the tenacity and the courage that they showed to come, face up and own up to what they did. They're coming in this year at no cost to us. We're providing them some hotel rooms. And the drone show, as we had contracted, was 50. Last year, the minimum we'll see this year is 100. So they did show me some videos, some different production, and a couple of references of people that had them throughout the rest of the year. And they did end up having a pretty good year. So we're going to be looking forward to welcoming them back when you see them. Thank them for coming in. It should be a pretty impressive event. Wednesday and Saturday night for the night shows, we're planning that, and they may even be able to get me at other times that we'll announce later. Maybe a couple of dry runs. All right, you can work sponsors for your area. This is another thing. This is the exact same slide as last year, and I want to encourage you to take advantage of the idea that you can go out and work on sponsorships. The caveat to that is there's a process. We need to work that through the corporate side of things. Number one, we got more to offer as a whole at the event than you in an individual area do, and that is available to you to leverage. Some have got more visible and easy things to sponsor than others, but we can add to the value of that by layering in the rest of the event and the TV screens and social media and Sun Fun Radio and all the different stuff that is valuable to the event can be yours, but we have to coordinate. All right? So it does take a little bit of work. Several areas have done that. We do have a very organized workflow for how that works. And I'll give you aircraft judging and military hospitality once again as examples of how that can go. They have got some pretty spectacular donations from different places that we have coordinated with to recognize those folks. And it works very well. And just in the regard to something like the last bullet there, duplicate requests, specifically to Publix, who by the way is now coming back, has expanded their purchase with us in the advertising side of things with Laura. They're sponsoring our birthday bash. We actually finally have some participation from Publix after kind of turning them sour to us when the 138 areas would go out and all ask them for something. So the uncoordinated approach definitely looks bad. It makes us look like that we don't know what we're doing, and the right and left hands, we're definitely disconnected in that case. So just keep that in mind. I know you need cups and styrofoam and chips and whatever, so going to your local Publix store and asking the manager may seem like a good idea. It's not. It's not a good idea. That makes it back to corporate, and then all of a sudden they're wondering what's in it for them. Although the manager felt like he did his good deed for the day, corporate gets hold of it and they're like, that's not beneficial to us. We need coordinated efforts. They don't mind giving it to us, but let's make sure that we coordinate the effort. I think this next slide, we had just a little recap from last year. Thought you might enjoy seeing it. This is some of the work that we did, that you did, that got captured on film. So I think that's the next slide coming up here.
It started as an idea in the mid-1970s in Lakeland, Florida, to preserve and enhance the future of flight, inspiring and educating people of all ages. What began with a passion for aviation is now a driving industry force, the leader in creating opportunities in aerospace education, and it has become one of the world's premier aviation events and organizations. A place to celebrate the incredible panorama of aviation. A place where tradition meets innovation. A place where songs are sung by sounds. A place unlike any other. This is the 2019 Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo.
This is Commander Ryan Bernacki, Commanding Officer and Flight Leader of the Blue Angels. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Come out and see us at Sun and Fun.
Hi, I'm Laura Madrell with Visit Central Florida, and I hope you're prepared for takeoff because we're heading to Sun and Fun International Fly-In and Expo.
It is 6 days of high-flying fun.
The Sun and Fun International Fly-In and Expo kicks off today in Lakeland.
Organizers are expecting roughly 200,000 visitors.
And this year we are doing quite well. We are in record mode. Weather's obviously been very kind to us, so we're counting on that to continue
Now,
throughout
the Sun and Fun is going on in Lakeland day 1 of 6. And though I didn't get to ride along in an F-16 jet, which is super cool, I did get to do a ride. Man, that is loud.
I just love the way he said that. You know, if you want to get a little taste of what D-Day was like, you can come out to Sun and Fun this weekend.
How cool is that? I so want to do that.
Yeah.
So you've been, and it's pretty awesome,
I've been a couple
right?
times, yeah, and
Yeah.
you know, it's great because you have people coming from all over the country, you know, descending on Lakeland to watch this show. I mean, from day, it's awesome. It's a good show for sure.
And the Blue Angels.
Yeah, spectacular.
Oh yeah, you can't beat that, right?
Yeah.
They really are the best.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Yes, I can. Doubt, better leave. I'm running with this plan. Pull me, grab me, crabs in the bucket can't have me. I'll be the president one day. January 1st. Oh, you like that gossip? Like you the one drinking what gossip.com. Now I got a word for your tongue. How many Rolling Stones you want? Yeah, I got a brand new spirit speaking and it's done. Woke up on the side of the bed like I won. Talk like the wind in my chest to that sun. G5 in the US to Taiwan. Now who can say that? I wanna play back. Mama knew I was a needle in a haystack. Oh, Gotti boy, plus Maybach. I got a feeling it's a rap. ASAP.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah.
If you had to describe Sun and Fun with just one sentence, what would that be?
Enjoying the passion of aviation with everybody else, your friends that enjoy the same passion.
The mountain top, walk on water. I got power, feel so royal. 1 second, I'ma strike for you. Diamond, platinum, no more for you. That adrenaline, never giving in. Giving up's not an option, gotta get it in. Witness, I got the heart of 20 men. No fear, go to sleep in the lion's den. That glow, that spark, that crown. You're looking at the king of the jungle now. Stronger than ever, can't hold me down. 100 miles gunning from the pitch's mouth. Straight game face, it's game day. See me running through the crowd full of melee. No trick plays, I'm Bill Gates. Take a genius to understand me.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling.
Are you kidding me? I can't just say I can't say welcome. I'm saying thank you so very much for coming out to the finest aviation experience on the planet.
Gotta love the life that we live in.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Sometimes I get a
So that footage is some of what came from Live Air Show TV. About 250,000 people saw that live, so almost doubling a little better than doubling our live audience. Some of the photography, video, and everything come from our camera people. So that's the quality of this type of thing that's coming out. Of course, edited by yours truly. And those things are the type of things that we're trying to put out. By the way, when Live Air Show TV is doing what they're doing, we actually have students moderating the social media feed so that anything that's stupid that comes across it gets cut out. But there are also literally thousands of inputs that we see coming from those people that tell us what they'd like to see here. And I will go on record saying that I believe that interface has a lot to do with the advancement of the ticket sales you're seeing over the last several years, because they see it, they like it, and they want to be here. So that's it for me, and I appreciate your time. We're going to bring up the lovely now Laura Vaughn, and we'll continue this on together.
Greg for always planning the video right at the end of his presentation, so I have to follow it, because now I have to do all the boring stuff. But before I say that, I just want to say, that's what I love. That event is what I love. I know I should be excited, but it made me cry. On to business. Most of you know who are chairman. We've got a new website coming out. Hopefully, most of y'all are planning to attend the training that I have scheduled in the Piedmont Hangar after this meeting. First things I want to say is, if you have a tent, how many have signed on to the actual site? What do you think so far? We still have a little way to go on it. Some things you'll see changing as we go through the process. But I think Charlie would be proud. I felt him sitting on this shoulder. Good Charlie was sitting on this shoulder, and not so good Charlie was sitting over here. But I do think he was there in spirit, and I certainly thought a lot about him as we were going through the process. So he's still a big part of things around here. So. Speaking of the website, and those of you who may have tents on your order, I need for you to, if you haven't figured out how to use the website, please come to the meeting or ask questions as early as you possibly can. I need you to go into, especially your tent record, and do some updates. There's a requirement in there now that you provide us an occupy date and a time on the site, so we could provide that to our new tent company. We have contracted with a new tent company from San Antonio, Texas, National Structures. They will be on site. Hopefully they'll be able to stay in time to attend our next volunteer meeting. They'll be here the 13th, 14th, and I hope through that weekend to kind of go over our site and become familiar with it. But we need to provide them a report of when everything needs to be set up and ready to go. So that's kind of the first priority as far as looking at your equipment, to make sure that that tent information is provided. Matt Anderson, who had to be pulled away, I don't know if he's had a chance to come back or not. We have an event going on site here this evening, and he had to go be pulled away for that. But most of y'all met Matt last year. And he is also going to be the boots on the ground for the tent operation again this year. So he's the one, if you have issues, once you get on the ground, he is your contact person, or even before. We've had some change in personnel in my department. Debbie Hobbs, who handled our facility rentals last year in food service, has left us to move to North Carolina. And we hired Rebecca as part of that replacement, but Matt will be also taking over our food service operation. So he will be, kind of splitting duties, but once the event gets set up or ready to go, most of the tent issues fall by the wayside. So hopefully he'll be able to handle both properly and well. He did a fantastic job first year last year, so hopefully he will be able to assist you with whatever needs you might have. Okay, I've been sending out a couple of emails recently. One was regarding the daily schedule, making any updates if you have activities that are scheduled during your event that you want guests to know about and be able to include in their itinerary when they come to the event. Please, if you've got some activity that's a special activity, please use that link. It will upload automatically to a file that we will post and update to our daily schedule online. All of the information that we have as of March the 1st will also be included in our in-flight guides daily schedule. So please concentrate on getting that information to me at least by March the 1st or online. Submit the form by March the 1st so we can make sure that we get that information included in our in-flight guide as well. If you've got any questions or you don't know where the link is, it should be in that really long email that I send out to the chairman. If you're not a chairman and you know of something that needs to be included, please contact me and I will send you the link as well. So Rebecca Fortier that was here, she also left with Matt. She's kind of still in the training phase. Rebecca is going to be handling the internal Sun and Fun special activities. If you're having a special event like for your volunteers where you need to use the Bueller one evening or another facility here on site, Rebecca is the person that you need to speak with regarding that information. She is also going to be handling the caterers and that information. So if you are in need of a caterer, you have an approved budget for a caterer, you need to work those details out through Rebecca. Okay. Are you flicking it for me? You are wonderful, thank you. Okay, volunteer needs. Robin and Sue have started sending out volunteer information, volunteers who have submitted requests. They want to come here, they want to work. Please respond to those volunteers. If you do not need them, please let Robin or Sue know so they can take that volunteer back and place them elsewhere. We cannot leave these people hanging out here. They want to commit and come in and work. And if you need them, I've heard from 2 or 3 different areas recently where they need volunteers. So if you need volunteers, take the ones that are actually going to our website and filling out the application. They have a desire to be here. The other thing is if you have a particular volunteer job that you need someone for, post it on the website or let Robin know so she can help you fill it. The in-flight guides and maps. Tracy, who works with our admin operation up at Main Registration, that's where you go to pick up your maps and your in-flight guides for distribution during the fly-in. She has asked me to remind you to go in on the equipment report once you learn how to use the website completely and make sure that you have your in-flight guides and your maps updated, the quantities, and then pick them up as early as you can in the week. And if you find that you are not going to use them or distribute them, please bring them back so we can distribute them to our guests and have them. There are times where we end up running out of things. So if you have them and you're not using them, please bring them back to Main Registration. Okay. Other equipment request deadline, March the 1st. So that means once you get into your equipment list and get everything approved, there's still a little button on the very front page of the homepage where you'll click and let us know that your equipment list is ready to be reviewed. So the process is very basically the same, but please try to get that done by March the 1st so we can pull all of our list together for our vendors. That does not apply to tents. The tents is February the 12th. So you have to have that completed by February the 12th for tents so we can get that information to them early. They have to pack their truck and bring it over from San Antonio, Texas. The early bird camping is I'm sorry, not early bird camping, the early camping forum. The date that you can bring your rig in, of course, is the same as it's always been, which is the second volunteer meeting, which is March the 14th. The early camping permit request form is online and available. You can go ahead, if you know that you're going to want to bring your rig in early, please go ahead and fill that request out so we can get the permits created for you. If you've got any questions, you can call my office and ask for Becky, because she's the one who does that. She's not here today, she's off scuba diving. I'm not sure why, but that's what she's doing. Okay, so the new camper registration entrance, Tim alluded to that. That is going to be, I have an address from the airport. I'm going to be updating that address on the website so people will be able to plug in the link, the GPS link, and be able to get to the entrance, hopefully, easily. I don't know if we've determined if Hamilton Road is going to be one-way traffic or not. Have we decided that? It's not. Okay. I've heard rumors, but I haven't had anybody confirm it. So we've updated. I've had a meeting with Jim Grabe, and we've kind of talked about getting some of the signs updated. So just be aware that when you come in, from the week prior to the event, you'll have to go to camper registration to pick up your volunteer camping permit. If you don't come in early, you'll need to follow the signs to Hamilton Road. Other areas that are relocating this year are the Pioneer Pavilion. We tried it in between Bueller and the medical building last year, and it was just really too close to the road. So we're going to be relocating that to the northeast corner of the southeast exhibit area. Veterans Plaza is also relocating just inside of the southeast exhibit area. It is going to be kind of in the north central area of Southeast. The kids' STEMtastic activities, which have been held in the Piedmont hangar for the last several years, they are going to be moving to the east side of the Southeast exhibit area next to the career fair tent. Florida Aviation Network, which used to have a home inside the museum, is going to be relocating to the Piedmont hangar. And the drone zone operation, which was in the south, or has been in the southeast exhibit area for the last couple of years, is going to be relocating to the CFAA drone area, which I'm not exactly sure if that's visible right now, but they have a drone area, and our operation is going to move to that area. And something that I didn't include here is the forums. If you attend, if you happen to break away from your job during the fly-in, the forums layout is going to be a little different this year. Our forums classrooms, the large classroom on the ground in the cafeteria is going to be status quo, and the rest of the classrooms except for one are all going to be on the third floor this year. They're trying to, I guess for a better way, they're trying to keep the students separate from the students that don't actually participate in the fly-in. They're trying to keep them separate from our attendees. So plan accordingly, and just know that you need to go to the third floor for most of the forums that are being held. Bonnie tells me that we've got about 443 exhibitors confirmed for this year. I just want to say that Bonnie pretty much interacts with these exhibitors one-on-one. She's got an excellent helper, Mary Lou Wall, that comes in and helps her through the process. But that is a very, very big job. She does a great job keeping our exhibitors happy. And we end up having a little over 500 exhibitors before the event is here, but she's well on her way, and she's done a great job this year. So that's a good start. So. And the next slide is the new chairman that we have coming this year. Greg introduced Tabitha. I had a bunch of her information down here as well, but he's already shared it with you. So we really welcome Tabitha in. She's actually going to be chairing 2 combined areas this year. She's going to be overseeing our administrative welcome area and then also our switchboard operations. So she's going to be taking a lot on and staying really busy, I'm sure. So we thank Tabitha for doing that. I mentioned before, special events and rentals, Rebecca Fortier. She is in the main office where I'm located if you need to contact her. And you can email me if you need her contact information. I'll be glad to share that with you. Sponsor Chalets, Melanie Ayers, who's also a staff member, is going to be doing that in conjunction with sponsors. Hopefully she's going to be building a team to help her with that. So if you know of anyone that might be interested in helping her with that operation, please contact her. The kiddie campground activities, that's a small little tent operation out in the campground. Rebecca Frisbee is going to be taking that over this year. Family Zone, Cindy McClendon, who is a staff member, a new staff member here, but most of y'all know her as a longtime Senate Fund volunteer. She couldn't be with us today. She's had a medical issue that has actually caused her to end up in the hospital, and hopefully she is going to mend quickly and still be able to take on the Family Zone operation, but we wish her well. And then My Box, which was an operation that Melanie brought on board with us last year, that we had people actually rent out different days and invite their guests in. We have a new chairman for that, Anitra Goddard. And the neat thing about that is Anitra has actually been a facility rental customer for us for the last 5 or 6 years, doing a fitness event here during in October usually, and she has stepped into a new role but is continuing to participate here in Senate Fund, so that's a really neat thing. The next new chairmanship that I just found out about it, so it really hasn't been changed in the system. Tracy informed me yesterday that Jim Albrand is going to be taking over Maine Registration Chairman. I saw Jim here a minute ago. Is that true? Yes. Okay. I put it on here because Tracy said to, but...
James not going anywhere.
Okay, well, that's good to know, but... Okay, very good. Okay, so we thank Jim for taking that role on. That is a big job. Pat Smith, are you here today? Hi, Pat. Pat was actually our go-to girl last year, co-chairman of the Golf Cart Depot. The gentleman, Jeff Sager, who has been chair for the last several years, had a job change, and he could not continue with his chairmanship. So Pat has agreed to step into that role officially now, so we thank her for doing that. So she will be handling that again for us this year. We thank Pat for that. Food service, as I mentioned before, Matt Anderson will be taking over the oversight of that. We have several volunteers that also support in that operation. Hot air balloons, I have not met this gentleman, but we have turned over the chairmanship to Tom Warren. He is with, if Greg is still here, what was the name of the balloon company? Is Greg here? American Balloons?
American Balloons.
Okay, so it's a balloon meister basically is going to be kind of chairing this for us. So we're excited to work with him. He's probably getting emails from me right now wondering who the heck I am, but anyway, we'll figure that out. And then we also have a new chairman for our student tour operations. Kat Shinato is going to be here. I spoke with her day before yesterday. She was in the hospital recovering, but having some issues. So that chairmanship has been turned over to a gentleman by the name of Joe Carrier. Haven't met him officially. He breezed through a meeting the other day, and I kind of waved at him, but I haven't met him officially. Joe? Thank you, Joe. Okay, so I have a couple of areas that I'm still seeking chairmans for. That is our International Visitors Tent and our Vintage Parking area. Bill Jones is not going to be returning as chairman this year. I have a possible person for international visitors. One of the, I think she's a co-chairman, has reached out to me and has interest, but we haven't finalized anything on that. So vintage parking is a real need. So if you know of somebody that has the ability to tell a classic from a contemporary, from an antique, we kind of need somebody like that. So if you know of someone, please share that information. And the sign shop. Okay, I sent this out in an email, and I've updated the form on the website. But the one thing that I did incorrectly is I gave you the wrong email address. So there's the correction to the email address. Tried to make it a Gmail for some reason, not sure why. But so that's the date, Saturday, March the 8th. They're going to be in the sign shop today and then ongoing. So please get your sign orders in as early as possible. And Tim asked me to share, I sent this out in the last meeting notice, but we are actually having a yard sale, or for a better word, at the north side of Hangar E. They've brought a bunch of things that we have had stored over in trailers out of the 42 acres and have put it out to where you can kind of view the items to see if they belong to you or if you would want them. If you want to claim something, you need to coordinate it with the maintenance personnel. Otherwise, if it's unclaimed, we're going to be getting rid of it. It's going to go into, I guess, one of your red dumpsters. The radioactive one? Okay. The other message that I have, I had a area reports slide is the next one. Joe, if you want to come up. Dave Shellbetter asked me, because I guess the weather was getting to him, he didn't want to drive up today from South Florida, but he asked me, again, the information that you share with the daily schedule or any activities that you might have that the radio station needs to promote for you, please get with Dave and share that information with him. They're always looking for ways to promote Sun and Fun in the most positive light possible. So share that information with Dave. The chairman's list is going to be on the new website. You're going to have the same contact information that you've always had. So share, share, share. Thank you. I hope we have a great event this year. I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
Hi, I'm Joe Cacioppo. I'm the chairman of the photographers here at Sun and Fun. And all I want to do is just go ahead and let everybody know what our photographers are going to look like. And we're the only ones that I've seen that we have the white vests. So whenever you see, this is Carolyn, she's one of our photographers and my friend here. She is one, we each have a number on our vests. And what we're going to have, there's on the front, yep, see it right there. On the front, we've got a pocket that's clear. We're going to have our all access badge on there. So I'd ask if anybody sees anybody come into an area that is restricted, we're taking photos for Sun and Fun. We're there to document everything, so we have access to the whole airport on the Sun and Fun side. But if you see a white vest without an all access pass, and you're in a position to tell people where they're supposed to go, they should have both. So if you don't see an all-access pass and the white vest, make sure you see them both. I want to make sure that's going to be, we're going to try and have a copy of the pass at each of the security checkpoints so they'll know what to look for. So if there's any question on any of this, please, come find me. And also, if you have a need in your particular area that you'd like a photo of your group, we did that last year, so you guys just let us know. And we're glad we'll send a photographer out in your area, get everybody together, and we'll get a picture of your group. So. Again, Joe Cacioppo with Sun and Fun's photographers, Area 155 if you need that, and this is Carolyn, and we have about 22 people that we're going to be having all over the airport, so good to talk to you. Bye.
I did not train them to speak that long. They just took it on their own. So, all right. Hey, before we get to the questions, every day that we have on this planet is precious. And we lose great volunteers every day. But one that just struck home to us, besides the fact that we lost Dr. Sharon Campbell here a couple weeks ago, was a great board member and volunteer We also had another one that worked in the trenches for over 40 years. Her and her husband have been volunteers here. Marvin and Sweet Pea Miller had worked diligently for over 40 years, and 2 weeks ago on Friday, they attended our town hall, and we had breakfast together, and they went to lunch, and then she just leaned over in the truck and died right there on the spot. And that was just a moment of sadness that it just hits us all to make us appreciate how wonderful we have it and what a great event we come together for, but still be appreciative of the fact that life is only here as long as we get the Lord lets us have it. Validating what we do. If you ever wondered if we're doing anything good here, you see a lot of changes, right? A lot of things, and we have a purpose now. And once we put the purpose into the Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo and created what we've created with ACE, guess what? The rest of the world started taking notice. We have been presenting at the International Council of Air Shows for 4 years now a seminar on how to missionize your air show. Well, I'll tell you what, the rest of the world woke up. Dozens upon dozens of air shows are replicating us right now, and in some cases, and I'm jealous, but they've exceeded even our expectations. They've taken it to a level that we never anticipated, and are bringing the youth of America back into a purposeful aviation experience. These air shows that used to be just exciting, now they have value to the future of our young men and women and their educational experiences. So we've got a lot to be proud of. With that, I'm going to open up to questions. And just remember, the only thing between you and lunch is that question. So go ahead, ask away. I got one, yes sir.
Security issues for 42 or 32 acres across the way.
Yes sir. Oh yeah, what he's alluding to is, unfortunately, in 42 acres, because we do so many things now, that facility, that 42 acres, which is our storage area, it's almost like a laydown yard for all of our trailers and excess equipment, is open constantly. And we've had a substantial amount of thievery, thefts have taken place in there. And it's not that they go in there and things are just laying on the ground. They actually take bolt cutters and torches and they break into our buildings. And we lost a lot of equipment from emergency aircraft repair, which we're going to have to replace this year. So we're trying to remove anything that you have that's valuable. We are going to be moving it into our side of the campground and protecting it. Katie. Oh, the Piedmont hangar, if you're going to go for the training, is directly behind us. And it says right there, Piedmont Aerospace Laboratory. Okay, that's good. Any other questions? Any hands? Yes, Sandy.
Like, is there going to be a map of evacuation or shelter in case there's a storm?
Yes, there will be a map of the evacuation and shelter route, or evacuation routes and shelter buildings. You know, we've labeled all the buildings at about 110 miles an hour, is what they're rated for, of wind speed. The school is obviously the strongest structure. That's where you'll want to go. But we will have a map for evacuation and protected areas. What else? Yes, sir.
Not so much a question, but an idea to put out there.
It's going to be a good idea.
My name is Ed Stork. Some of y'all know me. I'm chairman of Aircraft Emergency Repair. My father, Glenn Stork, who I'm sure some of you remember him, was one of the pioneers here at Sun and Fun. Now, because we got a little bit of time in advance to get to that point, I was wondering if we could do music themed for background, to play in the background of events that are the favorite tunes of the pioneers for Sun and Fun. And is that something that anybody would be interested in? I know some of you, there's a couple of you here that have been here since day one. A lot of you know the people that have been here since day one. And if you have any reference on that, just something to think about. We got a couple of years to put that together. So we'll do that next week.
Okay, we'll socialize that. If somebody's got any ideas, please share with them. What else have we got? Are we ready to eat? Yeah. All right, let's let's have a super duper sun and fun day. Thank y'all so very much for coming out today. What time is training, Kim? Laura, what time for training? 12:45.
There in the back corner. There's the back corner. Where all the people are.